3 million years ago, in the shifting landscapes of East Africa, the first chipped stones appeared. Future archaeologists will uncover them in places like Lamekwi, Gona, and Olduvai Gorge, and they will measure their age in layers of volcanic ash, in chemical traces left in stone, in the broken remains of bones split long ago. They will argue whether these fragments mark the birth of humanity itself, or whether they are only one step among many. Some will suggest they were made by accident. Rocks split as carcasses were smashed against stone. Others will insist that these were deliberate, the first intentional tools made by hands like yours. But here now, those debates do not exist. What exists is hunger. The sun hangs mercilessly overhead. Heat ripples across the open plain, bending the horizon like a mirage. The air smells of dust and rot, of dung trampled into cracked soil. Your stomach feels hollow, a knot pulling tighter with each breath. The others around you, a small cluster of kin, bodies lean, faces shadowed with fatigue, search the ground with restless eyes. Children stumble, too weak to complain. Elders walk more slowly, their feet dragging. Every step is survival, but survival cannot last without food. Ahead, vultures spiral low in the sky. The rasp of their wings cuts across the silence. They circle above a carcass, already stripped of its richest meat. Lions have eaten. Hyenas have torn at the remains. Jackals have worried at the scraps. What is left is only bone and skin, sinew dried by the sun. In the past, such remains meant nothing to you, a reminder of weakness, of all the things your body cannot do. Your teeth cannot pierce the hide, your fingernails cannot break the bone. And yet, locked within that pale chamber, marrow waits, thick and fatty, dense with the calories your brain and muscles crave. In your hand is a stone. Its edge is jagged, sharp, where it fractured from another rock. It is not elegant. It does not shine, but when you drag it against the hide, it cuts. The sound is soft, almost secret. A rasping tear, the release of fibers that would resist any clawless hand. You strike again, harder. This time the bone cracks. The vibration runs through your palm, a shiver that stings your wrist. The others look up. Their eyes catch the moment, wide with something close to wonder. The shard slices again, and marrow seeps out, pale and slick. You scoop it with your fingers and place it on your tongue. It is warm, salty, greasy. It coats your throat and lingers long after you swallow. You feel it fill you, if only a little. Your hunger does not vanish, but it loosens its grip. You pass the shard, and others take their turn. Children lick their fingers clean. Elders chew with slow, deliberate motion, savouring each mouthful. In this circle of sharing, you feel the faint hum of safety, of connection, without words. You know this stone has given you more than food. It has given you power over what once was beyond reach. If you enjoy these stories, a like or a subscription means more than you think. It directly supports the channel and keeps these long journeys alive. Now settle deeper into your blankets. Let your breath slow, and together we'll slip into the journey together. The shard rests in your palm again. It is heavier than before, not in weight, but in meaning. You study its edge. The cut on your skin stings faintly, a reminder of its danger but also of its promise. Tomorrow you will strike another stone, and another, searching for the same edge. You will teach with gesture, with example, repeating the motion until it takes root in others' hands. This is not chance anymore. This is memory, passed without words. The air thickens with evening. Shadows stretch across the ground, turning grass into black blades swaying in the wind. Somewhere nearby a lion coughs low and deep, the sound of a throat thick with dominance. It is closer now, hidden in tall grass. You freeze every muscle tight. The others cluster near, shoulders pressing into shoulders. You smell their sweat, their fear, the sourness of unwashed skin, yet you also feel their warmth, the steady rise and fall of chests pressed close. Together you are stronger, though still fragile. Your eyes lift to the vultures roosting in the trees. their shapes hunched against the dying light. They will feast again if you fall, but tonight you clutch a secret they do not understand. The shard gleams faintly in the fading sun. It is crude, yet it is a barrier, however small, between you and despair. Later, when the crickets begin their endless chorus, you set the shard beside you on the dirt. The cut in your palm has dried to a thin line. Your stomach still aches, but it is no longer empty. You close your eyes for a moment, imagining what might come next. Could this edge scrape wood? Could it carve deeper, open new foods, shape new paths? These thoughts are not yet words, not yet plans, but something stirs. A whisper of possibility, fragile but undeniable. One day, long in the future, the world will call this moment the beginning. For you, it is only survival, only another night under dangerous skies. Yet something is different now. The balance has shifted, if only slightly. You are still prey, still fragile, still cold and hungry. But tonight, in the soft gleam of stone, the story of your people takes its first spark. 2.5 million years ago, the landscape shifts around you. Forests thin into grasslands, and wide herds begin to roam. Antelope, zebra, buffalo, all pounding across the open earth in vast, restless patterns. Archaeologists of the future will find bones from these very herds, marked with the unmistakable cuts of stone. The lines are sharp, deliberate, running along ribs and joints where flesh was once carved away. Some of those bones show tooth marks overlying the cuts, suggesting that your people scavenged after hyenas and lions had eaten first. Yet in other places, the cut marks appear before tooth marks, hinting that sometimes you reached the kill before predators returned. It remains uncertain, debated whether you were primarily hunters or bold opportunists. What is clear, however, is that meat now enters your life in a way it never had before. The smell of blood hangs thick in the air. Ahead of you, the carcass of a wildebeest lies sprawled on the trampled ground. Its hide is torn, ribs exposed, and the surrounding grass is pressed flat where predators have fought. Flies lift in frantic swarms, landing and rising again, their wings whispering against your skin. The odor is overpowering. Sweet rot, iron tang, bile spilled from a ruptured stomach. It stings your throat, makes your eyes water, but your belly clenches harder with hunger. You clutch the flaked stone you made yesterday. Its edge, still greasy with marrow fat, feels cool and certain against your palm. The group circles loosely around you, wary. Every shadow in the grass could hold danger, a lion lingering, a hyena lurking. But silence stretches across the plain except for the hum of flies and the groan of hot wind. You kneel beside the carcass. At first the hide resists, leathery and stiff in the sun. You press harder, soaring, and the fibres give way. The sound is quiet but unmistakable, a tearing rasp like cloth ripping. You slip your fingers beneath the cut, tugging. Your stone flashes again, deeper this time, and suddenly the flesh opens. Muscle gleams red and wet beneath your hands. Warm blood seeps out, sticky against your fingers. You pull free a strip, heavy and trembling, and lift it toward your mouth. Your teeth sink into it. The fibres resist, sinew stretching until your jaw aches. But slowly they tear. The taste bursts across your tongue. Metallic, salty, raw. It fills your mouth with iron and heat, dripping from your lips, staining your chin. The flavour is strange, unlike roots or fruit, unlike anything you've eaten before. Your body shivers at the shock, but hunger overrides revulsion. You chew until it softens, swallow, and feel a strange surge of warmth inside. The others watch. A child reaches forward, small hand trembling, eyes locked on the dripping strip in your fingers. You tear it in two, pressing the smaller piece into their palm. Their teeth gnash at it, face smeared red in moments, a quiet whimper escaping between gulps. The group moves closer now, stones in hand, eager to cut, to taste. Soon the air is filled with the rhythm of stone on hide, of tearing, chewing, swallowing. breath grows heavier. The hunger eases just slightly as bellies begin to fill. The taste lingers bitter in your mouth, sticky in your throat. Some pieces are sour, almost rancid, the flavor of decay already settling in. Others are rich and fatty, coating your lips. You lick your fingers clean, tongue rasping against cracked skin. Around you, the ground is littered with strips of flesh, clutched in hands, pressed into eager mouths. The sound of chewing becomes a chorus, low and steady, almost like the rhythm of rain. But the danger is not gone. A rustle in the grass stiffens your spine. The laughter of hyenas echoes suddenly, sharp and mocking. Your heart jolts. They are near, drawn by the scent, by the sound of feeding. You gesture frantically. The group gathers scraps, children clutching bloody handfuls, elders pushing forward with urgency. The hyena's calls grow closer, louder, cruel. You seize another strip, tuck it under your arm, and run. The ground trembles beneath your feet. Dust rises in choking clouds. Behind you, the hyenas cackle, their footsteps drumming closer. Your chest burns, your vision narrows, but you keep running. The weight of meat slaps against your thigh, warm and slippery. At last you plunge beneath a stand of low trees, branches scraping your arms, and collapse into the shade. The others stumble in after you, gasping, clutching their shares. The hyenas' laughter grows faint again as they claim the carcass for themselves. You pant, chest heaving, and glance at what you carry. The meat is already darkening, flies gathering again, but you tear another bite and chew. The taste is stronger now, bitter, but still it fills your belly. Around you the others eat as well, slower, more cautious, hidden by the trees. For tonight it is enough. Later scholars will write that this change, the shift to meat, to raw flesh scavenged or hunted, altered the very shape of humanity. Calories from fat and protein gave fuel to larger brains, to longer journeys, to the endurance that would come to define your kind. Yet others will note the risks: disease, parasites, fevers that swept through groups, deaths that left no clear trace in the soil. The truth is uncertain, the evidence incomplete. But for you here, crouched beneath the branches with blood drying on your chin, none of that matters. What matters is that you are not hungry anymore. Night gathers. The sky burns orange, then deepens to purple. The hyenas' voices still echo faintly, cruel songs drifting across the plain. You curl close to the others, shoulder to shoulder, the smell of sweat and blood and meat clinging to all of you. Flies fade into silence. Your eyelids sink heavy. For the first time in days, your belly rests full, your body no longer trembling from emptiness. The stone shard lies beside you, dulled now, but still sharp enough. Tomorrow you will sharpen it again. Tomorrow you will search again. For tonight, the taste of raw flesh lingers on your tongue, the memory of it woven into your bones. It is strange. It is dangerous. It is new, and it is the beginning of something that will carry your people farther than you can imagine. 1 million years ago, something new flickers against the endless dark. Scientists of the future will discover blackened bones, ash-filled hollows, and patches of scorched earth in caves and open campsites. Places like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, where evidence of fire use stretches back nearly 1 million years. The discovery will ignite fierce debate. Did your kind tame fire this early, or was it only stolen, carried briefly from a lightning strike, from smouldering trees, from the aftermath of volcanic eruption? Some researchers argue the mastery came later, closer to 400,000 years ago, but whether brief or enduring, whether borrowed or controlled, the light of fire begins to change everything. The day fades quickly on the plains. The sun melts into the horizon, pulling warmth with it. Shadows stretch across the grasslands, then dissolve into black. Without fire, the night is vast. An ocean without boundaries. The stars shine clear but cold, in different points scattered across an endless sky. The air cools until your breath drifts pale against the darkness. Your body stiffens. In the silence, every sound cuts sharper. A lion roars in the distance, its thunder rolling across the earth. Hyenas giggle, cruel and mocking. Somewhere closer, an owl shrieks overhead, wings beating the night air. The danger feels everywhere, pressing close, unseen. Without fire, you crouch together in fear, pressed shoulder to shoulder, hoping the dark will hide you. But tonight is different. Tonight a tree struck by lightning has burned. Your people approached carefully, eyes stinging from the smoke, nostrils flaring with the scent of charred wood. In the ruin of branches, embers glowed faintly. One of you dared to reach in with a long stick, lifting a coal, carrying it back like a fragile treasure. The ember hissed, spat sparks, threatened to die, but nestled in a cluster of dry grass. It flared again. The wind coaxed it. Breath steadied it. Soon the first flame rose, thin and shivering, then stronger. Now it burns before you. The fire crackles and snaps, hungry but alive, throwing shadows that leap across the ground. Its light paints your faces in amber and gold, softening fear, deepening eyes. Warmth flows outward, pushing away the chill. The smoke stings your throat, acrid and sharp, but you welcome it. It carries with it the smell of protection. Predators hesitate at the edge of the glow. Eyes that gleamed in the dark retreat a little farther. For the first time, night is no longer endless. You hold your hands close. The heat kisses your palms, too hot if you lean too near, but perfect when you draw back. Your fingers flex, tingling as blood warms again. The others huddle close, murmuring low sounds, half song, half sigh. A child laughs softly, pointing at sparks rising into the air, vanishing into the dark above. Hunger stirs again, and someone brings meat. It is laid near the flames, not in them, but close enough that heat licks the surface. The smell changes. Instead of raw iron and sour rot, it becomes rich, savoury, almost sweet. The fat drips, sizzling, and a new sound enters your ears. When you bite, the fibres give more easily, softened by heat. The taste is deeper, less sharp, easier to chew. You do not know the word cooked, but your mouth learns it instantly. Your belly sighs in gratitude. The fire becomes more than food, its rhythm calms. Sparks rise, crackling like insects made of light. Shadows dance across the ground, long and shifting, like spirits made visible. You stare into the flames until they blur, patterns swirling, faces forming, vanishing. Others see them too, pointing, whispering. Perhaps it is here that stories begin. Gestures shared under firelight, shadows mimicking hunts, memories carved in movement. The fire holds your attention, draws your thoughts inward, makes the dark less heavy. But the fire is fragile. The wind can steal it. Rain can kill it. Embers must be guarded, carried, fed with dry grass and sticks. Tonight you watch anxiously as it settles lower, flames shrinking to red glow. Someone bends close, blowing softly. Smoke thickens, eyes water, but the ember stirs, blossoms again. Relief sighs through the group. The fire survives. Tomorrow you may lose it. Perhaps the flame will die, and you will return to cold nights. Perhaps you will find it again weeks later, when lightning strikes anew. The future is uncertain. Some scholars will claim your kind only borrowed fire at first, never holding it long. Others will argue you mastered it far earlier, carrying coals carefully between camps, tending them with vigilance. The truth is lost in the ashes, but tonight for you, the fire is real, alive, miraculous. You lean back, warmth soaking into your chest. The fear of lions and hyenas has not vanished, but it is pushed back, dimmed at the edges of the fire's glow. The others rest more easily, eyes half-lidded, muscles untensing. A child drifts asleep against your side, their breath soft and even. You listen to the crackle, steady and rhythmic, like a heartbeat you did not know the earth could give. The stars continue to burn above, distant and cold, but you no longer depend on them alone. You have brought a star down to earth, a piece of the sky at your feet. It sputters and hisses. Yes, but it shines, and in its light, your people glimpse a different kind of night. A night with safety, with warmth, with gathering. Tomorrow will bring the same dangers. Predators will stalk again. Hunger will return. But tonight, in this circle of light, you feel something new. Not just survival, but comfort. Not just endurance, but rest. Fire hums low, steady. The darkness waits beyond. But for the first time, you do not face it empty-handed. You close your eyes, embers painting the inside of your lids with faint red glow. The warmth lingers against your skin. Around you, the group breathes softly. Some asleep already, others watching the flames with silent wonder. Beyond the fire, the grass rustles, eyes gleam, but they stay back. The fire holds them away. And as your body drifts towards sleep, you know this night is no longer only fear. Night has become a place where light can live. 600,000 years ago, rivers snake across the open plains, carving channels of life through grassland and forest. Archaeologists of the future will study these rivers' ancient beds, uncovering stone flakes and animal bones, evidence that your kind relied heavily on the water's bounty. Along streams and lake shores, fish bones show cut marks and piles of shells mark the places where hands once pried food from stone. Some scholars argue that fish and shellfish were crucial in expanding the human brain, their oils rich in nutrients no root or leaf could provide. Yet debates linger: did early humans truly fish with intention, or did they scavenge only the stranded and the slow? The record is incomplete, the truth uncertain. What is certain is the rhythm of water, and the way its gifts could mean survival. The river runs broad and slow before you. The sun gleams on its surface, dazzling white, while beneath shadows dart and shimmer. The air smells of wet mud, sharp and earthy, layered with the musk of reeds bending in the breeze. Your feet sink into damp sand as you step carefully, the cool water lapping against your ankles. It is a relief after the burning plain, a balm against cracked skin. Small insects skim the surface, leaving ripples that spread like whispers. You crouch low, eyes narrowing. Beneath the surface, fish move in quick flashes, silver scales glinting, tails slicing the current. They are fast, slippery, hard to grasp, but hunger teaches patience. You kneel, motionless, hand hovering. The river hums around you, tugging gently at your legs. The fish move closer, drawn by curiosity or accident. In a sudden lunge, your hand plunges down, closing around slick muscle. It writhes, slipping through your grasp, water splashing high. Your kin laugh softly, not with cruelty but with recognition. They have failed in the same way. You try again, slower this time. You watch, wait, feel the rhythm of the fish. When one passes near, you pin it against a stone, fingers tightening. This time it does not escape. Its body thrashes wildly, tail slapping water against your arms. You lift it high, shining, alive. Others gather close, eyes hungry. You carry it back to shore, laying it on wet sand. A stone blade flashes, quick and sure. The belly splits and the smell rises, sharp, metallic, faintly sour. You scoop flesh with your fingers, soft and cool, and press it to your tongue. The taste is strange, lighter than meat from the plains, slick and smooth against your teeth. It slides down easily, leaving a faint sweetness, almost like fruit, but tinged with iron. The others eat as well, fingers darting, mouths eager. The fish disappears quickly, bones picked clean, scales scattered like tiny mirrors across the sand. Farther downstream, reeds part to reveal mussels clinging to rock. You wade carefully, prying one loose. Its shell resists, but with a twist it snaps free. You carry it back, strike it with stone, and it cracks. Inside, soft flesh glistens, pale and quivering. You sniff it, uncertain. The smell is briny. the taste of water made solid. You place it in your mouth. The texture is strange, chewy, slippery, but filling, one by one. Others join, cracking shells, slurping the contents, spitting fragments of grit. Soon a pile of broken shells grows at your feet, a scatter of proof that the river has fed you. The sun climbs higher, dragonflies buzz, wings iridescent, flashing green and blue. A bird wheels overhead, its cry sharp as it dives to snatch a fish from the water. The splash echoes your own efforts, and you feel a strange kinship with its success. You wonder briefly if you are learning from them, watching birds, otters, other hunters of the river, copying their gestures without knowing. Perhaps it is instinct. Perhaps it is memory. The line is thin, blurred like ripples on the water's surface. But the river is not only generous. Its currents tug stronger as you wade deeper. Your foot slips on a stone slick with algae, and suddenly you are down, water closing over your head. Cold rushes into your ears, your nose, your throat. Panic claws at your chest. For a moment, the current pulls you, dragging you towards deeper water. You thrash, arms flailing, lungs burning. A hand seizes your arm, one of your kin pulling, dragging, heaving. You cough, choking, water pouring from your mouth. The river releases you, but not without a warning. You sit on the shore, gasping, body trembling, hair plastered to your forehead. The fish bones crunch under you as you lean back. Relief floods you, but also caution. The river feeds, but it also takes. Later people will carve myths from such truths. Spirits of water, gods of the river, sacrifices to currents that claim lives. For now, you only shiver, aware that the same place that nourishes you could easily have ended you. As the sun sinks lower, you gather what you can. Fish caught and split, shells pried open, reeds cut for weaving. The air cools, turning the river surface to bronze. The group sits together, chewing quietly, bellies fuller than they have been in days. The sound of running water fills your ears, steady, unchanging, a rhythm older than your people. Debates in the far future will argue whether these river feasts gave rise to the human mind, omega-3 oils fueling brain growth, shells providing steady food when hunts failed. Some will doubt, pointing to incomplete bones to scattered evidence. But you feel it now, your thoughts are clearer, your body steadier. The world seems sharper, edges more defined, as if the river has fed not only your stomach but your senses. The night gathers around you. The fire crackles nearby, its smoke drifting across the water. Predators still prowl, but they stay back, wary of light. You lie against the sand, belly warm, eyelids heavy. The river murmurs beside you. Endless, patient, you listen to its rhythm, the constant lap and hush, until it feels like breath itself. The fish bones glitter faintly in the firelight, scattered testimony of this day. You close your eyes. The river keeps flowing, carrying your reflection away into the dark, carrying with it the memory of the day's feast. 400,000 years ago, your kind began to share more than food or fire. Archaeologists in the future will uncover higher weed bones, small, delicate structures in the throat, preserved in fossils of Homo heidelbergensis and Neanderthals, suggesting the possibility of complex vocal sounds. They will analyze endocasts of skulls, tracing impressions of brain regions tied to language. Some will argue that true language blooms far later, perhaps only with Homo sapiens around 100,000 years ago. Others will insist that the roots reach back here, in the half-cries and half-songs you make tonight. The evidence is debated, uncertain, but in the hush of the plains your voice rises, and the night listens. The fire glows low, embers pulsing like the heart of the earth. Around you, shadows lean and stretch, faces glowing red, eyes glinting with reflection. The meat has been eaten, the fish long gone, bellies are fuller than usual, and the danger of predators has receded for now. The night settles heavy and still. It is in such moments that your throat stirs with sound. You hum first, a low vibration rising from your chest. It rolls into the air, steady, carrying no clear meaning but full of rhythm. The others turn toward you, listening. One joins in, a higher sound, weaving with yours. Another follows, then another, until a chorus hums together, layered tones swelling and dipping. The air trembles with it. Sparks rise into the dark as if pulled by your voices. The sounds shift, from hum to cry, from cry to sharp call. A rhythm emerges, repetition, pattern, change. Your body moves with it, shoulders swaying, hands beating softly against your thigh. The group follows, clapping sticks, stamping feet, echoing back what you create. The firelight flickers across moving bodies, and suddenly the night feels less empty. Your sound fills it, shaping the dark, bending silence into something that belongs to you. The child nearest you mimics the tone you make, not quite the same but close. Their eyes brighten when you respond with another call. A pattern builds. Sound, answer, variation. It is not yet language, not yet the complex river of words that will one day flow through human mouths, but it is the seed of conversation, the first root stretching into soil. You call, they answer, and meaning stirs between. The fire crackles, snapping loudly, and for a moment all voices fall silent. The group watches the sparks, listening again to the night beyond. A lion coughs, low and rumbling from somewhere in the distance. The hair on your arms rises, but no one moves away from the fire. Instead, a soft voice rises again, higher this time, thin and trembling but brave. The sound threads into the dark, into the lion's silence. It does not drive danger away, but it makes you feel less small. Somewhere in the branches above, an owl calls. Its voice is sharp, cutting the air in two beats. You mimic it, tilting your head back, throat straining. The others laugh softly, amused, then join in. The night filled with echoes of bird calls and invented sounds. For a moment the world feels doubled. Predators still prowl, but your own noise stands alongside theirs, refusing to be drowned. You notice, without naming it, how sounds shift with meaning. A short bark draws attention, a long rising tone soothes, a repeated rhythm gathers others close, a descending hum signals rest. You do not yet have words, but you have intention, and intention is enough to bind the group tighter. Future scholars will argue about this moment. Some will say only Homo sapiens invented true language, that Neanderthals and earlier kin had only crude shouts. Others will point to the complexity of your sounds, the rhythm and turn-taking, as proof of a deeper system. The truth is uncertain, blurred across time, but you feel its reality here. In the echo of voices, in the hum and cry, you feel connection. The air smells of smoke, of charred wood, and faint grease from cooked meat. It clings to your hair, to your skin. The warmth lulls you, but the sound keeps you awake. You listen not only to others, but to yourself, fascinated by what your throat can do. You press a hand against your chest, feel the vibration, the strange power of it. You wonder if your ancestors before you ever noticed the same. The voices fade to silence slowly, one by one, until only the crackle of fire remains. But the silence feels different now, less empty, more filled with memory. In your mind, the echoes continue. You replay the tones, the patterns, almost tasting them as you do. They cling like marrow on your teeth, like the scent of fish on your fingers. A child sighs in sleep, a soft whistle escaping between their lips. You smile without knowing the word for it. That sound is unintentional, but still it warms you. You reach out, tucking a hide closer around their small body, listening to their breath steady. The stars above burn bright, unblinking, vast. They are silent, but in their silence you hear your own small voice louder. For the first time you feel as though the night does not only belong to beasts and sky, you have pressed your mark into it. Not carved on bone, not painted on stone, but carried in air, fleeting yet real. Tomorrow, you may hum again. Tomorrow, another will answer differently. In time, patterns will grow, sharpen, shift into something richer. But tonight, it is enough to know that your voice can fill the dark, that it can echo across the firelight, that it can carry more than fear. You close your eyes, the sound still vibrating faintly in your chest. The night is heavy, the fire low, but the echo of voices lingers like warmth, soft and steady, guiding you towards sleep. 200,000 years ago, a volcano erupts somewhere on the shifting landscape of East Africa. The earth shakes, the sky fills with smoke, and rivers of ash roll down its sides. When the air clears and the land cools, the ash hardens into a crust, soft as clay but solid enough to capture what passes across it. In the far future, at a place called Letoli in Tanzania, archaeologists will uncover footprints pressed into volcanic ash more than 3.5 million years old, older even than this moment. They will marvel at how clearly the steps of ancient ancestors survived, frozen in time, the wide heel, the arch of the foot, the small impressions of children walking beside adults. These prints will reveal not only anatomy, but the closeness of your kind, the way you travelled together. You do not know this, not in words, but you know the ash beneath your feet feels different. Each step sinks slightly, leaving an impression that does not fade like dust or grass. You feel the soft crumble of it between your toes, the faint sting where sharp fragments press into your skin. The land smells scorched, sulphurous, acrid even after days have passed. The air is cooler than before, heavy with the memory of fire. You walk slowly, not alone. Others move with you, a small cluster of bodies pressing forward. The tallest leads, strides measured, scanning the horizon for danger. Behind them, smaller figures keep close, reaching out sometimes to steady themselves. A child stumbles, leaving a deeper, uneven print. An elder pauses, leaning on a stick of wood, smoothed by years of use. Step by step, the line continues. The ash captures everything. Not only feet, but pauses, hesitations, the way someone turned to look behind. Each mark is a record of your movement, though you do not realize it. To you, it is only the ground, only the path beneath your soles. But in ages to come, strangers will kneel over these very shapes, pressing their fingers into the same hollows, whispering about how you once lived. The plain is quiet after the eruption. Animals fled, and only now do they return. You see antelope in the distance, their hooves sending up small puffs of grey as they run. Birds circle warily, wings flashing white against the pale earth. The silence is heavy, broken only by the crunch of ash beneath your own steps. It coats your skin, clings to your hair, mixes with sweat until you taste grit on your tongue. You cough, the particles scratching your throat. And yet, the ash offers a gift. Its softness reveals what passed before you. You see prints of other animals, great cats, their paws round and deep, claws marking at the edges. You see the wide pads of elephants, the delicate hooves of gazelle. You follow the trail of a rhinoceros until it vanishes into taller grass. The land itself speaks in these signs, telling you who has come and gone, who lingers nearby. A debate will one day rise among scholars. Did your ancestors already track with intention reading prints as language, or did they simply notice them without full understanding? Some evidence suggests remarkable skill even then, the ability to follow a wounded animal for days, to read the depth of a print for weight, the blur of its edges for speed. Others will argue this came later, with sharper minds, with more deliberate teaching. The truth lies somewhere between. You may not name it, but you feel it. The prints matter. They show what you cannot see. You kneel beside a fresh mark. The ground is still warm from the sun, the ash crumbling easily at your touch. The print is large, too large. Lion. Your chest tightens. You gesture, a low sound in your throat, and the group draws closer, cautious. You step around it, wide berth, eyes scanning the grass. The air thickens with fear, but the path must continue. Hours pass. The sun drops lower, shadows stretching across the grey earth. Your feet ache from the roughness of ash. From stepping carefully to avoid sharper shards, blisters form, raw and painful, but you keep moving. Behind you, the trail of your people lengthens, a ribbon of prints winding across the plain. No one thinks of it, but it is a record as real as any carving or painting will ever be. At last you pause by a cluster of stones where water has pooled in shallow hollows. The ash here is damp, sticky. You kneel, cupping water to your lips. It tastes faintly of sulphur, bitter, but it cools your throat. Children splash their hands, leaving smaller prints smeared across the wet surface. An elder sighs, lowering themselves to rest, their body pressing a wider mark into the ground. Night approaches. The sky burns red at the edges, fading into violet, then into the first pricks of stars. The fire you carried sputters weakly, coaxed alive again with dry grass. Smoke rises thin and white against the twilight. You gather close, huddling against the cooling air, listening to the distant sounds of life returning after silence. Frogs croaking from a stream, insects beginning their endless hum. Tomorrow the wind may erase your steps. Rain may wash them clean, or they may harden, preserved for ages no one can imagine. You cannot know. You only know that tonight your body aches from the long walk, your skin is coated with ash, and the ground beneath you bears the memory of your passing. You close your eyes, leaning against another's shoulder, and the image lingers, a trail of prints fading into the horizon, each one a testament that you were here, that you moved together across a dangerous land, leaving marks for a future you will never see. 300,000 years ago, the hunt evolved beyond mere scavenging. In some places, bones unearthed by archaeologists of the future will show deep punctures made not by teeth, but by sharpened wooden spears thrust with force into the bodies of great animals. At Schöningen in Germany, long spears crafted from spruce will be discovered, carefully shaped, balanced for throwing or stabbing. These finds will prove that your kind had begun to turn from scavengers into hunters, but debate will linger. How often did hunts succeed? How many ended in disaster, in shattered bodies beneath hooves or tusks? The record is incomplete. What remains certain is the courage and the fear pressed together in each attempt. The morning air is cool, the sky pale, clouds stretched thin like skin. You crouch in tall grass, body low, heart pounding. In your hands rests a spear, long, smooth, heavy. Its tip is hardened by fire, sharpened to a point that glints faintly in the sun. Your fingers tighten around it, palms slick with sweat. Around you, others crouch as well, a silent line of bodies hidden in the grass, all eyes fixed forward. The herd grazes just beyond, massive creatures, antelope with curved horns, their flanks twitching against flies. A younger one strays near the edge, its steps lighter, less cautious. That is your target. The group has spoken without words, gestures of hands and eyes, choosing it. You shift slightly, feet pressing into the earth, muscles coiling. The smell of the herd drifts toward you, musky, sweet, strong enough to sting your nose. Their movements ripple through the grass, a rhythm of chewing, snorting, stamping. The air trembles with the sound of breath, of tails swishing, of hooves shifting on soil. You hold still, each second stretching, every nerve waiting for the signal. Then it comes, a low cry from your leader, almost a growl, barely louder than the wind. You surge forward, the grass explodes around you, feet pounding, spear gripped tight. The herd startles, eyes rolling white, bodies jerking into motion. Dust rises as they bolt. The chosen animal hesitates, confused, cut off from the others. You lunge, spear, aimed. The point strikes hide. For a moment you feel resistance. The thick barrier of muscle and bone, then a give as it sinks. The creature bellows, thrashes, nearly pulling the weapon from your hands. You grip harder, driving deeper. Blood spurts warm against your skin, metallic scent filling the air. Others swarm, spears flashing, shouts rising. But the hunt is never certain. The animal rears, horns swinging wide. One of your kin stumbles too close. The horn catches their side. They cry out, falling hard, blood darkening their skin. Fear surges through you. For an instant the hunt falters, chaos rising. The animal bolts again, dragging a spear still lodged in its flank. The herd scatters into the distance, thundering like storm clouds across the plain. To silence follows, broken only by the moans of the injured. Dust hangs in the air, sunlight slanting through it in pale beams. The wounded one clutches their side, breathing ragged. You kneel, pressing a hand to the wound, trying to stop the flow. The smell of blood is heavy, almost unbearable. The others gather close, some looking after the herd, others focusing only on your fallen kin. The kill is lost, hunger will linger, but the price of the attempt is here, trembling beneath your hands. Future scholars will note the risks. Some will point out how often hunts must have failed, how many lives were lost in attempts too bold. Others will emphasize the skill it took. Coordination, timing, bravery. Both are true. The record is written in bones, but never in the cries that rose when hunts went wrong. You stay with the wounded, listening to their breath. Each inhale rattles, shallow, weak. You wonder if they will survive the night, or if tomorrow you will bury them beneath stone. The fire of victory is gone, replaced by a hollow quiet. The others murmur softly, gestures of comfort, hands brushing against skin. Together you lift the fallen, carry them back toward camp, steps slow and heavy. Hunger gnaws, sharper now that the effort has drained you. The memory of the herd lingers in your mind, the flash of flanks, the dust rising, the bellow of the dying. You replay it, searching for what went wrong, for what could have been different. But the truth is simple. Hunting is danger, always. As the sun lowers, shadows stretch across the land. The fire is coaxed alive again, smoke rising into the darkening sky. You sit near it, sharpening your spear with a flake of stone. The rhythm soothes you, scraping edge against wood, reshaping the point. Each stroke whispers determination. Tomorrow again, tomorrow again. Nearby the wounded rests, wrapped in hides. Their breathing steadies somewhat, though pain still twists their face. Others sit close, murmuring, stroking hair, pressing hands to reassure. There is no cure but time, no medicine but rest. Yet the presence of the group matters. In the silence, solidarity hums low, steady as the crackle of fire. The night deepens. You stare into the flames, replaying the hunt in their shifting light. The spear in your hands feels both weapon and burden. It is the key to survival, yet it carries the weight of risk, of blood, of loss. You press it against the ground, leaning forward, eyelids heavy. Tomorrow it will be sharpened again, lifted again, thrust again. Hunger leaves no other choice. The grass whispers beyond the fire, but predators stay back tonight. The scent of blood still lingers, perhaps enough to warn them. You lie down slowly, curling close to the others, the spear beside you. The fire warms your face, the earth cools your back, and the memory of the hunt flickers between them. The thrill, the terror, the sharp edge of life lived one spear thrust from death. You close your eyes, breath slowing. The night holds you, the fire hums, and the fear of the hunt fades into dream. 200,000 years ago, survival depends not only on the spear, but on the quiet hands that keep the embers alive. Archaeologists of the future will uncover blackened hearths, layered with ash, proof that your kind tended fires night after night. In some caves, the evidence will show careful maintenance. Old charcoal buried under new, suggesting coals were kept smouldering for weeks. It is uncertain when true mastery of fire spread to all groups. But what is clear is this: without someone to watch the flames, the cold and the dark returned quickly, and danger pressed close. The day has ended. The hunt gave little. A few scraps of meat, some roots dug from the earth. Hunger still lingers, but the group's attention has shifted to the fire. It sits in the center of camp, glowing low, embers pulsing faintly. The air smells of smoke, warm and acrid, clinging to skin, hair, hides. Sparks rise in tiny bursts, disappearing into the dark. Around it, bodies gather close, shadows trembling across the ground. At the edge of the fire sits a woman, her back bent, eyes focused. Her hands move steadily, placing twigs one by one, blowing gently, coaxing the coals. The flames flare, then dim, then flare again. Her breath is slow, patient. She does not sleep when the others do. She tends, she guards. Without her, the fire would wither, and the night would return in full. Beside her, an infant stirs. Its cry is soft at first, then sharper. Demanding, she lifts it against her chest, wrapping it in hide, rocking gently. The child presses its face to her skin, soothed by warmth, by heartbeat, by the rhythm of her voice. Not words, but a low hum that vibrates through bone. The sound mingles with the crackle of fire, a duet of survival. The others lie close, resting. Some breathe heavily in sleep, others murmur, half awake. The fire's glow flickers across their faces. Scars, closed eyes, furrowed brows. The world beyond is dangerous. Predators move in the grass, wind howls, cold presses against the camp. But within the circle of light, safety exists, fragile but real. The firekeeper ensures it. Archaeologists will later note that hearths were often central in campsites, their ashes layered, showing care. Some will suggest that fire created more than warmth. It created time. Time to sit, to watch, to share, to think. Time for children to play safely in light. For stories to unfold, for bonds to deepen. Perhaps it is here, at fires like this, that culture begins. The child sleeps now, its breathing soft against the mother's chest. She lays it carefully on furs, then leans forward again, stirring coals. Her eyes glimmer in the light, reflecting orange and gold. Smoke curls upward, stinging, yet she does not flinch. She has learned how to keep her face turned just so, avoiding the worst of it. The skin of her hands is rough, darkened by ash, but steady. She hums again, a rhythm as constant as the fire itself. From beyond the camp, the sound of predators drifts closer. The distant cough of a lion, the shriek of hyenas. Eyes may watch from the dark, gleaming at the edges of light, but the fire deters them. The circle of flame is boundary, warning, shield. The group rests more easily because of it. Still, fear lingers. The firekeeper leans close, feeding the coals again, determined not to let them fade. A debate will one day rise among scholars. Did women more often than men tend fires and children, while hunters roamed farther? The evidence is limited. Tools and hearths alone cannot reveal roles. Yet the quiet image survives in memory. Mothers bent over coals, infants tucked against their skin, fire and life guarded together. Whether always or often the pattern feels true. The night deepens. Stars spread across the sky. Countless points of light. The moon glows pale, silver against black. The fire crackles louder. Flames stronger now, dancing tall. The warmth spreads wider, pushing back the cold. The group stirs, some waking briefly to add wood, others shifting closer in sleep. The smell of charred sticks thickens, sharp but comforting. The infant cries again, startling in the silence. The sound cuts through night, shrill and insistent. A predator answers, a hyena's laugh echoing faintly from the distance. Fear prickles, but the mother moves calmly. She presses the child close once more, humming, rocking, patting gently. The fire flares as she shifts wood, its light brightening, as if joining her effort. The cry softens, fades, replaced by a hiccup. Then silence. The danger lingers, but it passes. You watch your own body curled near the warmth. Sleep tugs at you, heavy and slow, but your eyes remain on the firekeeper. You see her resilience, her patience, the way she binds two fragile lives, child and flame, with the same care. You wonder if she knows her role, if she feels the weight of it. Perhaps she does. Perhaps she only acts. Instinct stronger than thought. Either way, the group survives because of her. Future voices will argue about when humanity first became truly human. Was it when tools were shaped with care, when meat was cooked, when words were spoken? Yet others will point here to this quiet image, the fire tended through the night, the child soothed, the group safe within light. Humanity may begin not only with invention, but with protection, with care repeated night after night. The embers pulse steadily, orange hearts beating within black ash. Smoke curls in thin lines, rising to vanish among the stars. The child breathes softly, the mother hums faintly, and you drift at last towards sleep, warmed by the fire, sheltered by her watch. And as your eyes close, you know this. Tomorrow may bring hunger, fear, danger again, but tonight the fire burns, and someone tends it still. 70,000 years ago, your kind began to mark more than skin and hide. Archaeologists of the future will discover fragments of carved bone and ochre scratched with deliberate lines, crosshatches and curves. At Blombo's cave in South Africa, pieces of ochre etched with patterns will astonish researchers, suggesting symbolic thought far earlier than once believed. Yet arguments persist, were these marks truly art, or only idle scratches, practice for flaking tools? The meaning is uncertain, but the act is undeniable. Something inside your kind begins to look outward, and inward, carving memory and meaning into the world itself. The night is cool, the air smelling of salt and damp earth. You sit beneath a rock overhang, the firelight casting orange arcs along the stone. In your hand lies a piece of antler, smooth at one end, rough at the other. A shard of flint rests in your other hand, its edge sharp enough to bite. You press the flint against bone and pull. A line appears, shallow, uneven but visible. You do it again, another line, then a third, crossing the others, making a pattern where none existed before. The sound is soft, a rasping scrape, chips fall, tiny white curls against your thigh. The act is slow, deliberate. Around you the group murmurs, some dozing, some tending the fire. Children play with stones, tossing them, mimicking the motions of adults. No one asks what you do. There are no words yet to ask, but they watch sometimes, curiosity glinting in their eyes. The bone grows heavier in your hand, though it has not changed in weight. Its surface now bears marks you created, lines that hold no food, no warmth, no weapon, yet they remain. Tomorrow they will still be there. Tomorrow you will remember them. Perhaps another will look and wonder why. The smell of smoke thickens as the fire spits a sudden spark. Shadows leap high across the wall, twisting, forming shapes. You glance at them. Animals, people, spirits perhaps. Then return to your carving. You scratch a curve this time, looping, less rigid than the lines before. It feels different, freer. The rhythm calms you. Archaeologists will one day debate, were these marks mere doodles, or the earliest symbols? Did they hold meaning, tallying days, recording hunts, invoking spirits? Or were they simply the idle scratching of restless hands? The truth remains hidden in the silence of ages, yet you know as you carve that something shifts, the marks matter, even if you cannot say why. The child nearest you crawls closer, small fingers reaching. They point at the bone, then press their nail against the dirt, drawing a line of their own. Their eyes meet yours, and for a moment you feel the connection. You smile, though you do not know the word for it. The impulse to copy, to imitate, has passed between you. Perhaps this is how memory spreads, not only through gesture, but through mark. The night deepens. Stars scatter across the sky, vast and unblinking. You look upward often, Wondering, the stars shimmer faintly, distant fires unreachable. You scratch them into bone now, tiny dots, clusters arranged as you see them above. The marks are crude, uneven, but when you hold the bone near the sky, they align. For a moment you feel as though you have captured the heavens in your hand. A strange quiet settles in your chest. The fire crackles, the group shifts. Predators howl faintly from afar, but here in your hand you hold something different. Not food, not protection, but reflection. The sky is too vast to grasp, yet now a fragment of it lives in bone, bound to you. Future scholars will see such carvings and argue about the dawn of symbolic thought. Was it here, with marks on bone and ochre, that humans became fully human, or did true art come later, with painted caves and carved figurines? The answer will remain uncertain, but in this moment, you carve not from need, but from wonder, and wonder is enough. The fire grows lower, the embers glow red, light flickering across the carved lines. You run your thumb across them, feeling the grooves, the ridges. They are permanent now, part of the bone itself. Even if the fire dies, even if the night ends, the marks remain. They outlast the moment. A breeze carries the smell of salt again, strong now, hinting at the nearby sea. You imagine its waves, dark and endless, moving like the sky above. You scratch another curve into the bone, spiraling this time, like water pulling downward. The sound soothes you. The child dozes beside you, head against your leg, small breaths warm against your skin. You rest a hand lightly on their hair, still carving with the other. The bone grows crowded with lines, dots, curves. None of it means survival, yet all of it means something. Tomorrow, perhaps, you will add more. Tomorrow, another may take up the bone and scratch their own marks. The future begins in such small gestures. The stars wheel slowly above. The night is vast, yet you feel less lost within it. You hold its reflection in your hand, scratched faintly but real. The sky carved in bone, fragile yet lasting, a whisper of thought given shape. You close your eyes, the bone resting against your chest. The grooves press lightly against your skin, as if reminding you of what you have made. The fire hums low, the sea murmurs faintly beyond the hills, and sleep folds around you. The marks will wait, the sky will remain, and your people will carry both forward. 20,000 years ago, the earth groans under a blanket of ice. Vast glaciers grind across the continents, crushing forests, scouring valleys, carving rivers into new paths. Archaeologists of the future will find evidence of this age everywhere. Mammoth bones scattered across frozen plains, cave shelters blackened with smoke, tools sharpened to hunt beasts wrapped in fur, thicker than any hide you've ever seen. Some researchers will argue about how many humans survived in Europe during the coldest centuries. Tens of thousands, perhaps fewer. What is certain is that the Ice Age pressed your kind to its limit. Cold was an enemy more relentless than any lion, more constant than any hunger. The air burns your lungs when you breathe. Each inhale stings, each exhale curls in pale clouds that drift briefly before vanishing into the stillness. Your skin cracks beneath the chill, despite layers of hide wrapped tightly around you. The furs are heavy, smelling of musk and old blood, but they are not enough. The cold seeps through everything, biting bone, gnawing joint. Even the fire struggles here, its flames low, its smoke damp with melted snow. You stand at the mouth of a cave, wind lashing at your face. Beyond lies a plain white and endless snow, stretching to the horizon, broken only by dark figures of mammoth and bison moving slow and heavy through drifts. The sky is grey, low, pressing. Silence hangs heavy, broken only by the groan of ice shifting in the distance, a sound like mountains cracking. Behind you, the group huddles together, children buried in hides, eyes wide above frostbitten cheeks. Elders lean heavily against the walls, their breath shallow, laboured. The fire flickers between them, its glow faint, its heat too weak. Hunger lingers, meat is scarce. Roots lie hidden beneath frozen ground, unreachable. Only the hunt promises survival, and the hunt in this age is fraught with danger. You grip a spear tipped with stone, its shaft smoothed by countless hands. Your fingers ache, stiff with cold, but you hold it tight. You step into the snow, feet crunching, the sound loud in the silence. The others follow, a small line of figures wrapped in fur. You move slowly, every step sinking deep. The cold gnaws, but the need pushes you forward. Ahead, the mammoths graze, their tusks gleaming pale against the sky. Steam rises from their bodies, clouds of warmth drifting into the frigid air. They tear frozen grasses with trunks, their movements slow, deliberate. One younger, smaller, lingers at the edge. It is the one you watch, the one you know you must take. You and the others spread wide, circling, approaching carefully. Your breath comes ragged, chest burning from effort. The snow muffles sound but also slows you. Each movement heavy, closer, closer, until at last the signal comes, a cry sharp against the silence. You surge forward, spears lift, arcs of wood and stone stabbing toward flesh. The mammoth trumpets, a sound so vast it rattles your bones. It rears, swinging tusks, snow flying as hooves crash into the ground. The herd scatters, thundering away, but the chosen one is trapped, hemmed by your circle. It lashes out, trunk whipping, tusks gouging. One of your kin falls hard, blood splattering bright against snow. You push fear down, thrust again. The spear sinks deep, warm blood spurting against your hands. The hunt lasts long. Cries rise, spears strike, bodies dodge. At last the beast falters, knees buckling. It collapses with a groan that shakes the earth, snow erupting beneath its weight. Silence follows, heavy, broken only by ragged breaths. You stand trembling, body shaking, not from cold but from exertion and awe. The mammoth lies still. Then comes the relief. Meat more than you can carry. Fat, thick and rich, to fuel fires, to line bellies, to last for days. Hide vast enough to clothe many. Bone strong enough to build shelter, to fashion tools. Nothing will be wasted. The group moves quickly. Knives of stone flashing, hands working. The air fills with steam, with a metallic tang of blood, with the sound of tearing, slicing, pulling. Your body aches, but hunger drives you, warms you. Later you drag meat back to the cave. Fires flare brighter now, fed by fat that burns strong, casting heat that spreads wide. Children chew strips, grease shining on their lips. Elders suck marrow from cracked bones, sighing with relief. The cave smells of smoke and blood, heavy but comforting. Outside, the wind howls, snow drifts, cold presses. Inside, you survive. Archaeologists of the future will wonder how humans endured such winters. They will find mammoth bone huts on the plains of Ukraine, tusks arranged as walls, hides stretched as roofs. They will analyze hearths where fat burned as fuel. They will debate whether small groups clung desperately in scattered refuges, or whether larger bands roamed farther than thought. The details remain uncertain. What is clear is the determination, the refusal to yield to cold. The night grows deep. The fire glows steady, its warmth reaching farther than before. You sit close, chewing slowly, savoring the rich taste of fat. Grease drips down your chin, and you wipe it with the back of your hand, licking your skin clean. For the first time in many days your belly feels full. Yet outside, the cold remains, the ice waits, pressing, unrelenting. Tomorrow it will return, biting as before. But tonight you have warmth, you have meat, you have life. You lean against the wall of the cave, fur wrapped tightly, firelight flickering across your face. Your eyes close slowly, breath steadying, body heavy. In dreams the ice recedes, the sky clears, the earth softens, Warmth returns. You dream of grass where snow lies, of rivers running free, of air that does not burn your lungs. Perhaps one day it will be so, perhaps not. For now you rest, the fire glowing, the mammoth's gift sustaining you, the cold held at bay by fragile, precious heat. 30,000 years ago, the walls of caves began to bloom with colour. Archaeologists of the future will crawl into places like Chauvet, Altamira and Lascaux, where paintings stretch across stone, bison, horses, mammoths, lions, human hands stenciled in red and black. The pigments are ground from ochre, charcoal, and manganese, mixed with spit or fat, pressed onto walls with fingers, or blown through hollow bones. Scholars will debate why. Was it ritual, magic to ensure hunts succeeded, or only expression, the joy of leaving a mark? No one knows for certain, but the caves remain, echoing with the memory of those who turned rock into story. The air inside is cool, damp, heavy with the scent of earth. The passage narrows as you step deeper. Torch held high, smoke curls against the ceiling, staining it black. Shadows leap along the stone, your own movements magnified into giants that sway and twist. The ground is uneven, slick with moisture, but you press forward. Behind you others follow, their breaths low, their footsteps careful. At last, the passage opens into a chamber. Its walls rise smooth and pale, a canvas waiting. The torchlight flickers across them, revealing faint shapes already there. Lines scratched by fingers, smudges of ochre, outlines of hands pressed and sprayed. You kneel, heart pounding. The walls are alive with memory. You grind ochre between two stones, the dust fine and red. It stains your fingers, earthy and metallic, smelling faintly of rust. You mix it with spit, thickening it to paste, then lift it to the wall. The stone is cool against your skin as you press your palm flat. With a hollow bone you blow, spraying pigment around your hand until the outline glows. When you pull back, the shape remains. Your hand, yet not your hand. A shadow fixed forever in stone. The others watch, murmuring softly. One steps forward, presses their hand beside yours, smaller, fingers splayed. Another follows, larger, rougher. Soon the wall fills with echoes of presence, overlapping, crowding, a chorus of hands, a record of being here. You trace them with your eyes, feeling connection, continuity. Then comes the animals. You dip your fingers into charcoal, blackening them. You draw lines swift and sure, the curve of a horn, the slope of a back, the thrust of a tusk. The torchlight dances across the lines, making them seem to move, to breathe. The bison charges, the horse gallops, the mammoth trumpets silently. The group gasps softly, pointing, following your gestures. You smear ochre for blood, charcoal for shadow, white clay for light. The animals emerge, alive in stillness, moving in fire's glow. The smell of pigment fills the chamber, earthy, smoky, sharp. Your hands are stained red and black, your fingernails darkened. You work quickly, rhythmically, as if guided by something beyond yourself. Each stroke feels necessary, urgent. You do not know why, but you know it must be done. Future scholars will argue, were these paintings prayers asking for success in hunts? Did they carry ritual, magic, meaning deeper than survival? Or were they teaching tools, showing young hunters the shape of prey? Or perhaps they were simply beauty, the desire to capture what the eye sees, what the heart feels. The truth remains uncertain, layered like the pigment itself. The chamber grows warm with breath, with fire, with focus. Children press close, pointing at shapes, mimicking animals with their hands. Elders nod slowly, eyes reflecting firelight, perhaps remembering hunts long past. You hear murmurs, low rhythms, half songs that accompany the drawings. The voices weave with the lines, turning the moment into ritual, whether named or not. The torch sputters, smoke thickening. Shadows shift across the animals, making them seem alive, galloping, charging, leaping across stone. For a moment you believe they truly are. Spirits caught in rock, companions summoned by pigment and breath. Your heart races. You feel both fear and awe. You add details. A line of dots along a flank, perhaps wounds, perhaps decoration, a spray of red at a mouth, blood, or voice. You press your hand again beside the bison, claiming space, joining its strength. The wall becomes crowded, layered, dense with meaning. You step back, staring, breath trembling. The chamber hums with energy, alive with more than stone. When at last you stop, your hands ache, your throat burns from smoke, but your chest feels lighter, as if you have released something. The others step forward, touching the wall lightly, reverently. One adds their own lines, awkward but earnest. Another hums louder, a rhythm that seems to match the bison's stride. The chamber becomes chorus, sight, sound, breath, light all mingling. Later, archaeologists will kneel here too. Torches replaced by lamps, murmurs replaced by analysis. They will measure pigment, carbon date charcoal, sketch every line. They will argue across decades about meaning, but none will feel what you feel tonight. The heat of torch, the sting of smoke, the pounding of your heart as stone becomes alive beneath your hand. The fire burns low. You set the torch down, embers falling in ash. The chamber dims, the animals fading into shadow, waiting for light to awaken them again. You press your stained fingers to your lips, tasting earth, ash, salt. You lie down against the cool stone, others close beside you, their breath steady. As sleep comes, you imagine the animals still moving, running through dreams, leaping from wall to wall. The cave holds them now, safe, eternal. And tomorrow, when the torches flare again, they will return, waiting for your eyes, your hands, your wonder. 100,000 years ago, your kind begins to place the dead carefully into the earth. Archaeologists of the future will uncover skeletons laid in shallow pits, sometimes with stone tools or red ochre sprinkled across bones. At sites like Kovsey in Israel, bodies will be found arranged with shells, perhaps once beads or ornaments. Scholars will argue, were these the first rituals or only practical measures to keep predators from scavenging? Was the ochre symbolic or only convenient dust from nearby soil? The answers remain uncertain, blurred by millennia, but the earth itself remembers where the living placed the dead. The morning is grey, the air heavy, still. You stand among your people on a hillside, soil freshly turned beneath your feet. The smell of damp earth rises, sharp and raw, clinging to your skin. Before you lies a body wrapped in hide, a young woman, her face calm now, though you remember her cries of pain days earlier, the fever that consumed her. She lies still, hands folded, hair matted with sweat. Her breath will never return, and yet she does not feel gone. The pit has been dug with stone tools and bare hands, each scoop of earth heavy, each movement deliberate. Your palms are raw, skin torn, but you do not stop. Others worked beside you, silent, only the scrape of stone on soil breaking the air. The pit is shallow, not deep enough to hide all traces, but enough to place her within, enough to cover. The group gathers close. Children cling to elders, eyes wide, unsure. The fire burns low nearby, its smoke trailing thin into the grey sky. No words are spoken. There are no words, but gestures replace them. A hand laid on shoulder, a low hum vibrating in throats, a rhythm that feels like mourning. You kneel beside the body, placing a stone tool near her hand. It is sharp, useful. Perhaps she will need it. Perhaps it is simply respect. You do not know, but it feels necessary. Another sprinkles ochre, red dust staining pale skin, seeping into folds of hide. The powder drifts in the breeze, clings to your fingers when you touch it. Its colour startles against the greyness of earth and sky, bright as blood, bright as life. Did someone long ago discover this practice by accident? noticing the beauty of red earth against bone. Or does it hold deeper meaning? Symbol, prayer. You cannot answer, but you know the act feels right. The body is lowered into the pit, arms adjusting, hides tucked close. For a moment you hesitate, staring into her still face. You search for breath, for movement, but there is none. The chest remains still, the eyes closed forever. A sound escapes your throat, not quite word, not quite cry. Others join, a chorus of low hums, vibrations echoing into the earth. It comforts you, though it does not erase the ache. Earth is pushed back, handfuls first, then more. Soil falls across her face, her chest, her folded hands. The sound is soft but final. Dust clings to your fingers, streaking your arms. The pit fills slowly, then completely, mound rising slightly above. Stones are placed on top, heavy, protective. The smell of soil lingers in your nose, bitter, metallic. When the work ends, silence deepens. The group lingers, unwilling to leave. Some press hands to the mound, others sit nearby, staring. The child nearest begins to mimic, piling small stones atop, as if helping. You watch, heart heavy, but feel a strange warmth. The act binds you, not only to her but to each other. Future scholars will argue whether such burials mean belief in spirits, in afterlife, in something beyond. They will examine the ochre, the beads, the tools, searching for meaning. Some will dismiss it as mere practicality, a way to keep scavengers away. Others will insist it marks the dawn of ritual, of reverence. Both may be true. For you in this moment it is both survival and love. The air grows colder as the sun sinks. Clouds press low, and the first drops of rain fall, darkening the soil. They patter softly on the mound, washing dust into rivulets. You lift your face, letting the rain sting your skin, cleanse your eyes. The mound glistens, stones shining wet. The body beneath is hidden now, yet not gone. She remains with you, in soil, in memory, in the red dust still staining your palms. The fire is coaxed higher, smoke curling into the damp air. You gather close, bodies pressed for warmth, silence still thick. The rain fades, leaving the hillside glistening. You glance at the mound one last time before turning away. Tomorrow you will hunt, gather, work again. Survival does not pause, but tonight grief holds you, heavy and slow. You lie down near the fire, fur damp from rain, earth clinging to your skin. The smell of ochre lingers, faint but sharp. You close your eyes, hearing the low hums of others fading into sleep. The mound remains in your mind, vivid, enduring. Perhaps one day you will return to this place, find the stones, remember. Perhaps you will not. Either way, the act is done. And as you drift towards sleep, you feel the silence of the earth beneath you, the weight of burial pressing into your bones. The world is harsh, relentless. But in the simple act of placing the dead into soil, you sense something greater, memory, respect, a thread that ties the living to those who came before. 50,000 years ago, the stones in your hands grow sharper, thinner, more precise. Archaeologists of the future will name these blades Aurignacian or Upper Paleolithic tools, recognizing them in Europe, Africa, and Asia alike. Long, narrow flakes struck carefully from cores, so fine their edges can shave hair from skin. They will uncover bone needles, awls, scrapers, and delicate spear points shaped with skill that astonishes even after tens of millennia. Scholars will debate how knowledge spread. Did bands trade techniques across great distances, or did similar minds invent them separately? The answer remains uncertain. But the evidence is clear. Your kind no longer relies only on crude shards. You have entered the age of mastery. The morning begins with a strike. You sit cross-legged, a core of flint cradled in one hand, a hammerstone in the other. The air is crisp, carrying the smell of damp grass and wood smoke from the fire still smouldering nearby. Your breath curls faint in the cool air. Around you others work too, some mending hides, others sharpening spear shafts, children playing with small flakes cast aside. The camp hums with quiet rhythm, a chorus of survival. You lift the hammerstone, heavy and smooth from long use. With measured force, you strike the flint. A sharp crack echoes, ringing like bone snapping. A flake leaps free, thin and gleaming. Its edge catches the light, razor fine. You lift it carefully, testing its sharpness against your thumb. It slices skin with barely a touch, drawing a bead of blood. You lick the copper taste away, satisfied. More strikes follow, each deliberate. The rhythm builds, strike, turn, strike again. The pile of flakes grows. Some shatter uselessly, but others are perfect. Long, narrow blades, edges straight as rivers. You set them aside carefully, lining them like a row of teeth. One by one, you fit them into wood. A shaft of ash, smoothed and fire-hardened, waits beside you. You split its tip, press a blade inside, then bind it with sinew stripped from an animal's leg. The sinew tightens as it dries, gripping the blade securely. You smear resin along the seam, sticky and sharp-smelling, sealing the bond. When you hold the spear up, it gleams with promise, stone and wood joined, edge and shaft united. Nearby, a woman bends over hide, sewing with a needle of bone. The needle pierces smoothly, the thread sinew pulled taut. She works quickly, rhythm steady, binding two pieces together. The garment will shield against wind, against cold. Her hands are skilled, practiced. The bone needle itself is fragile, easily broken, yet in her care it becomes tool of transformation. Without it, hides flap loose, gaps invite frostbite. With it, warmth clings close. A child watches, eyes wide, fingers twitching to mimic. The woman passes the needle to them gently, guiding their grip, showing how to push through hide, how to pull thread. The child fumbles, pricks a finger, winces, blood wells, but laughter follows, soft, shared. The act is teaching, passing skill from one generation to the next. The smell of resin thickens as others prepare tools. Scrapers sharpen hides, shaving them smooth, removing stiff bits. Awls punch holes into leather, widening spaces for thread. Burins carve grooves into bone, shaping needles, shaping beads. The camp becomes workshop, every hand busy. The air rings with taps, scrapes, cracks, hums. Future scholars will marvel at these tools, recognizing the leap in precision. Some will say such mastery marks the true dawn of modern humans, proof of minds like theirs. Others will caution Neanderthals too, shaped tools of remarkable skill. Perhaps invention was not the property of one group alone. The evidence is tangled, the timeline uncertain, but here in this moment you do not wonder who owns the knowledge. You only feel its necessity, its gift. Later you take the new spear to the riverbank. The water glitters, cold and swift. Fish dart beneath its surface, silver streaks flashing. You crouch, steady, spear poised. A shadow passes near. You thrust, the blade slicing clean, piercing scales, flesh, bone. The fish writhes, then stills. When you lift it, blood drips into the water, curling red ribbons downstream. The edge held. The tool works. You carry it back, pride warming your chest. The group gathers, fire coaxed higher, fish roasting on sticks. The smell is rich, savoury, mingling with smoke. Grease drips, sizzling. Children lick their fingers. Elders chew with satisfaction. Bellies fill, strength returns. And you know the sharper the blade, the fuller the fire. That night, as the fire burns low, you turn the spear in your hands. Its edge gleams still, keen even after use. You imagine tomorrow's hunt. Deer in the forest, birds startled into flight, rabbits darting through grass. The spear will fly true, the blade cutting clean. Hunger will be met, danger lessened, life extended. You set it beside you as you lie down. Furs pulled close. The air smells of smoke, resin, grease and blood, the sense of survival. The stars wheel overhead, distant and silent. But in your hand rests the proof that you have shaped the world, not only endured it. The stone no longer rules you. You have mastered it, coaxed from it edges so fine they sing. And as sleep comes, you dream of strikes and flakes, of sparks and edges, of tools sharper than teeth, sharper than bone, carrying you forward into days yet unwritten. 10,000 years ago, the world begins to soften. Glaciers retreat, grasslands spread, rivers swell with meltwater. Animals still roam, aurochs, gazelle, wild sheep, but your people's attention shifts towards smaller things. Seeds scattered in the tall grass, grains clinging to stalks, kernels hidden within husks. Archaeologists of the future will uncover grinding stones dusted with ancient starch, sickle blades gleaming with polish from endless harvest, storage pits filled with charred seeds. They will argue was farming a sudden revolution or a slow drift from gathering to sowing. Some evidence suggests your kind tended wild stands, returning season after season, watching them grow. The line between foraging and farming blurs. But here, in this moment, seeds are not yet crops. They are discovery, possibility, survival. The sun hangs hot above the plain, the air heavy with buzzing insects. Tall grasses ripple in the breeze, waves of gold and green stretching to the horizon. You kneel, fingers brushing stalks. Grains cluster at the tips, small but plentiful. When you pluck them, they cling to your skin, dry and papery. You pinch, rub, and tiny seeds fall into your palm. They are light, fragile, almost weightless. Yet when you place them in your mouth, they crunch, faint sweetness spreading across your tongue. Hunger eases, though only slightly. Others join, bending low, sweeping hands across stalks, filling woven baskets with seeds. The air fills with the rustle of grass, the soft thud of baskets, the hum of voices. Children imitate, plucking with clumsy fingers, spilling more than they save. Elders move slowly but steadily, filling containers with patience. The harvest is not a feast, but it is many small bites gathered together, a promise of more than roots or berries alone. The seeds gather quickly, baskets growing heavy, but they are not ready yet. You sit with a grinding stone, a slab of basalt smoothed by years of use. The seeds are poured onto its surface, small and hard, rolling like sand. You lift another stone, flat and heavy, and begin to grind. The motion is slow, rhythmic. Push, pull, push. The seeds crack, crumble, turn to powder. Dust rises, smelling faintly nutty, earthy. It coats your hands, your arms, your face. The flour piles slowly, pale yellow, soft beneath your touch. You mix it with water, forming a paste. When placed on a hot stone near the fire, it hardens, browns, becomes bread. The smell drifts through camp, warm, rich, comforting. You tear a piece, bite. It is coarse, gritty between your teeth, but filling. The heaviness spreads through your belly, deeper than fruit, steadier than meat. You chew slowly, savouring the newness. Future scholars will marvel at this moment, calling it the first steps toward agriculture. Some will claim it began here, in the Fertile Crescent, where wild wheat and barley grew thick. Others will point to China, where millet sprouted, or to Mesoamerica, where maize slowly changed. The timelines blur, the origins scattered. What unites them all is the same gesture, a hand reaching, plucking seeds, saving them. A gesture you make today without knowing it will reshape the world. The afternoon grows hot, the sun pressing down. You sit beneath a tree, shade cool against your skin, basket of seeds beside you. You sift them with your fingers, marveling at their number. So many, so small. You imagine scattering them here again, watching them grow next season. Perhaps they will, perhaps not. You do not know yet that planting will come, that tending will follow, For now, gathering is enough. Nearby, children play with stalks, weaving them into mats, crowns, bundles. Their laughter carries across the plain, light and free. An elder hums softly as they sort seeds, separating husks, murmuring rhythmically. The camp feels calm, steady, filled not with urgency but with patience. And yet, danger lingers. In the distance you hear hooves, heavy and close. A herd of oricus passes, massive bodies moving through the grass, horns glinting in the sun. You freeze, clutching your basket. The animals snort, stamping, tossing their heads. If they turn, if they charge, you will scatter, lose everything. But they continue, uninterested, pushing through grass toward water. Relief floods you. You exhale, shoulders loosening, seeds still safe in your lap. As the sun sinks, shadows stretch long. The fire is coaxed alive, sparks rising into twilight. Seeds are roasted, ground, baked again. The smell of bread fills the air, mingling with wood smoke. You sit in a circle, passing pieces, chewing slowly. The taste is simple, bland almost, but satisfying. Bellies fill, not with abundance, but with steadiness. No feast of meat, but no ache of emptiness either. Future generations will look back and call this the beginning of a revolution, the dawn of farming, the end of wandering. Some will argue it brought stability, growth, civilization. Others will insist it carried burdens, labor, disease, hierarchy. But tonight you know only the weight of seeds in your hand, the crunch in your teeth, the warmth in your belly. The night deepens. The stars glitter above, countless, bright. You lie back on furs, hands still dusted with flour, skin smelling of smoke. The grinding stone rests nearby, silent but powerful, its grooves bearing the memory of countless meals. You close your eyes, imagining fields of grain stretching farther than sight, golden waves rippling like the sea. You do not know it yet, but you have begun to shape a new world, one stalk, one seed, one grind at a time. And as sleep takes you, the taste of bread lingers, coarse and warm, the flavour of the future carried gently in your dreams. 8,000 years ago, the sea became your second hearth. Archaeologists of the future will uncover piles of shells along ancient coastlines, called middens, silent records of countless meals. They will find fishhooks carved from bone, net weights chipped from stone, canoes hollowed from tree trunks. Some will argue that the sea gave your kind the richest harvest of all, steady and abundant, far more reliable than herds or fields. Others will note the danger, storms, drowning tides that could sweep lives away. The truth is both. The sea feeds, but it also takes. The air smells of salt, sharp and briny, stinging your nose as the wind whips across the shore. You stand barefoot on wet sand, toes sinking as waves rush forward, then retreat, leaving foam clinging to your skin. The horizon stretches endless, sky and water blurring together. Gulls wheel overhead, their cries sharp, falling like arrows. The sound of waves is constant, a heartbeat vast and eternal, rising, crashing, retreating, again and again. You carry a basket woven of reeds, its sides darkened by water and use. Others walk beside you, some with spears tipped with bone, others with nets braided from twisted fibres. Children trail behind, picking shells, holding them up to the light, marvelling at their colours. The day is bright, the sun glinting off the water, blinding at times. At the tide's edge, you crouch. Mussels and limpets cling to rocks, their shells dark, slick with spray. You pry one with a stone, twisting until it breaks free. The shell is rough, cold in your hand, dripping salt water. You strike it against another rock, and it cracks, opening to reveal soft flesh inside. The smell is strong, sea and rot mixed together, but you lift it to your mouth. It tastes briny, chewy, slippery, strange but filling. You reach for another, then another, dropping them into your basket. Nearby, others cast nets into the shallows. They spread wide, sinking beneath the surface, then pull them back, heavy with wriggling fish. Silver bodies flash in the sun, tails thrashing, scales scattering. The smell of fresh catch rises, sharp and metallic. Laughter bursts as someone nearly falls into the surf, pulled by the weight of their prize. The group gathers, hands quick, tossing fish into baskets. Farther out, a canoe glides across the waves. It is hollowed from a tree trunk, its sides dark with pitch. Two men paddle steadily, their movements smooth, practiced. A spear arcs from the boat, striking the water with a splash. Moments later they lift it high, a fish skewered, blood dripping into the sea. Their shouts carry across the waves, proud, triumphant. The sun climbs higher. Fires are lit on shore, smoke rising into the wind. Shells are roasted until they pop, opening easily. Fish are laid on stones near flames, their skin blistering, grease sizzling. The smell spreads, rich and savoury, mixing with salt air. Children dance impatiently, tugging at pieces, mouths watering. When at last the food is shared, the taste is beyond measure. Warm, soft, smoky, salty, a feast drawn from water itself. Future scholars will note how important this diet was. Shellfish and fish provided oils that nourished the brain, minerals that strengthened bones. Some will argue that coastal living fueled the leap to complexity in thought, in art, in society. Others will caution that the evidence is scattered, uncertain. But here, as you lick grease and salt from your lips, none of that matters. What matters is fullness, energy, life renewed. As the meal ends, shells pile high, children play among them, clattering them together, stringing some into necklaces. The pile grows into a midden, though you do not know the word. It will remain long after you are gone, a monument of meals, layer upon layer of shells, recording your presence. But the sea is not only generous. Clouds gather at the horizon, dark and heavy. The wind sharpens, lifting spray from the waves. The gulls wheel higher, restless. The canoe paddles harder toward shore, its movements urgent. The group begins to gather baskets, nets, tools. The storm comes fast. Rain lashes, cold and stinging. Waves crash higher, pulling at your legs. You run, clutching the basket to your chest, heart racing. The sea roars louder, a beast awakened. You reach the safety of trees, drenched, breath ragged. The storm rages, lightning splitting the sky, thunder shaking the earth. The sea thrashes, white foam leaping high, swallowing the canoe. You press close to the others, fire hissing in rain, smoke choking. Fear runs sharp, but so does gratitude. You escaped. You carried food. You live still. When the storm passes, the air smells fresh clean. The sea lies calm again, deceptively gentle, waves rolling soft against the sand. The sky clears, stars emerging, glittering above water that reflects them like glass. You sit on the damp shore, tired, full, watching the tide breathe in and out. Future voices will study middens, shells, bones, and argue about meaning. Did you worship the sea? Did you fear it? Did you master it? The answers remain hidden in the rhythm of tide. For you tonight, the truth is simple. The sea gives, the sea takes. You kneel at its edge, bowing without knowing, and accept both. As sleep comes, the sound of waves fills your ears, steady, eternal, a lullaby older than fire, older than words. Salt clings to your skin, the taste still on your lips. You dream of tides rising, falling, rising again, carrying you forward, carrying your people always farther. 6,000 years ago, the world is no longer empty. Villages rise where once there were only scattered camps. Fields stretch in rows. Animals graze in enclosures. Smoke curls from hearths that never move. Archaeologists of the future will uncover traces of these first communities. Clay pots hardened in fire, post holes marking houses, bones of sheep and goats bred smaller and tamer than their wild kin. But they will also find skeletons scarred by blades, walls built around settlements, weapons buried with the dead. Farming brought abundance, but also conflict. To survive now meant not only feeding your own, but facing others who might take what you had. The morning mist clings to the fields, damp and cool against your skin. Wheat bends in the breeze. Green stalks tipped with gold. You walk the narrow paths between, basket in hand, checking for pests, for birds that strip the grain. Your feet brush dew soaking through worn sandals. The air smells of earth, of growth, of life shaped by human hand. Behind you, voices rise in the village. The crackle of fire, the lowing of animals, the hum of daily work. You bend to pull a weed, its roots tangled in the soil. Your hands are rough, nails broken, but the gesture is practiced, natural. You glance toward the horizon. Smoke rises there too, thin columns from another settlement. Neighbours, though not always friends. Their presence both comforts and threatens. You are not alone, but neither are you safe. Later, a group approaches along the river path. Figures carrying baskets, hides, tools for trade. They come slowly, cautious but open. Your people gather to meet them. Voices low, hands gesturing. Shells are offered, gleaming white, perhaps from a coast days away. In return, you bring grain, ground fine into flour. The exchange is careful, each gift weighed, each gesture watched. But not all encounters are so calm. You remember a season past when another group came not with baskets but with spears. The fight was brief, brutal. Blood stained the fields, screams echoed. A wall was raised after, wooden stakes sharpened, encircling the village. Now its shadow falls across your back, reminder of both fear and resilience. Future scholars will argue whether early villages were peaceful or violent. They will point to graves where bodies lie carefully arranged, signs of respect. They will also find others where bones show cuts, skulls shattered. The truth, as always, lies in between. Cooperation and conflict walked side by side. You traded when you could. You fought when you had to. In the evening, the strangers share your fire. Children from both groups chase each other, laughing, weaving between huts. Adults speak in gestures, voices blending, some words shared, others guessed. You pass bread, roasted meat, fermented drink that warms the chest. The mood eases, though caution lingers, never gone. The firelight flickers across faces, across beads and shells, across scars of old wounds. You study them, these neighbours who are not quite friends. Their clothes are different, their ornaments strange, their voices rougher, yet their laughter sounds the same. Their hunger looks the same. Their children play as yours do. You wonder if the difference matters, or if you only fear what you do not know. Still, danger waits. At night you hear whispers of movement outside the wall. Eyes gleam in torchlight. Animal or human. You clutch your spear tighter, standing watch, listening. The air smells of smoke, of sweat, of earth still cooling from day's heat. Your body aches from work, but your mind stays sharp. By dawn, the strangers are gone. They leave behind shells, beads, small gifts. They carry away grain, bread, tools. The exchange lingers in your mind. Were they true allies or only visitors who will one day return with sharper intentions? You cannot know. You can only prepare. Future voices will study these encounters, calling them the roots of trade, of war, of diplomacy. They will say humanity became human not only through tools and fire, but through living beside others, through cooperation and rivalry, trust and betrayal. They will see in pottery shards and arrowheads the story of neighbours and strangers. But for you here, it is only the rhythm of survival. The sun climbs, burning mist away. Fields sway golden, animals graze, smoke rises steady from hearths. Children fetch water, elders sit weaving, men and women alike labour in soil. Life continues, fragile but persistent. Neighbors may come, strangers may threaten, but the village holds. The wall stands, the fields grow, the fire burns. You lie down that night within your hut. Furs spread across packed earth. The air smells of grain, of smoke, of the faint sweetness of fermented drink. Your body aches, but warmth surrounds you. Outside, the wall creaks in wind, a reminder of both fear and protection. You close your eyes, hearing the hum of voices, the breathing of kin, the faint bark of a dog beyond. And in your dreams you walk between villages, sometimes trading, sometimes fighting, always meeting. Neighbors and strangers, bound by the same earth, the same hunger, the same fragile need to endure. 5,000 years ago, voices began to rise in rhythm not only for song, but for spirit. Archaeologists of the future will uncover carved figurines, strange masks, pipes blackened by fire, and stones painted with symbols that seem to speak of visions. In burials, they will find bodies curled with beads and ochre, tools arranged carefully beside them, as though to aid a journey beyond life. Scholars will argue, were these shamans healers, visionaries, or tricksters who swayed their people with smoke and mystery? The truth is unclear. What remains certain is that some among you breathed deeper than others, carrying the unseen in their lungs and voices. The night is heavy with silence, the air still after rain. You sit in a circle near the fire, its flames low, embers glowing like coals in the earth. The smell of damp wood mixes with smoke, bitter and sweet at once. Shadows lean long across the ground, shifting as the flames rise and fall. In the center sits the shaman, body draped in furs, hair wild, eyes bright. In their hands is a bundle of herbs, dried and twisted, bound with sinew. They place the herbs into the fire. Smoke surges upward, thick and pungent, filling your nostrils, stinging your eyes. It tastes sharp on your tongue, earthy, almost sweet beneath the bitterness. You cough at first, but then breathe deeper. The shaman leans close, inhaling with long, slow pulls. Their eyes half close, their body sways, their breath becomes rhythm, rising, falling, humming low. The group follows. One by one, breaths deepen, hums grow, a rhythm builds, inhale, exhale, voice vibrating in the chest. The air grows heavy with sound, with smoke, with the mingling of bodies. Your head feels light, vision shimmering at the edges. Shadows twist into shapes. Animals, spirits, ancestors perhaps. Their forms flickering in the fire's glow. The shaman begins to chant. The voice is rough, rising and falling, carrying no words you know but filled with power. Arms lift, hands spread wide, fingers trembling. The chant sharpens, louder, faster, then softens again, like waves against shore. The group sways together, caught in the rhythm, eyes half closed. The air smells of resin and sweat, thick with heat, with presence. You feel something stir in your chest, fear and wonder mingled. You close your eyes. Behind your lids, shapes emerge, a bird soaring high, wings flashing, a river twisting endlessly, the face of one long gone, gazing at you. The vision feels real, though you know it is not. Or perhaps it is. You cannot tell. The shaman coughs, then exhales sharply, breath rushing into the smoke. They lean forward, pressing a hand to the ground, muttering low. Their fingers trace lines in the dirt, spirals, curves, marks like those you've seen carved into bone. The group murmurs in response, voices blending, repeating the rhythm. Future scholars will study such traces. Uncertain of their meaning, they will see spirals scratched into rock, red ochre smeared across stone, and wonder if they represented the sun, the moon, or only patterns seen in vision. They will argue about shamans. Were they chosen, born, or self-declared? Were they healers who understood plants and bodies, or leaders who bound groups through fear and awe? The evidence is fragmentary, but the smoke that fills your lungs feels undeniable. The ritual deepens. The shaman lifts a drum. a hollow log stretched with hide. They strike it with steady rhythm. The sound is low, thudding, echoing like a heartbeat. It fills your chest, sinking with your breath. Others clap, stomp, add voices. The fire leaps higher, sparks spinning upward. Smoke thickens until it blurs the edges of the world. You sway with the group, your body no longer fully your own. Fear slips away, replaced by something larger. You feel bound not only to those around you, but to something vast. Sky, earth, spirit. The shaman's voice rises high, then drops low, carrying you with it. Then silence. Sudden, sharp. The drum stops. The chant ends. The fire crackles alone. The group sits breathing heavily, smoke curling around heads and shoulders. The shaman lifts a hand, palm outward, holding the silence. Their eyes are wide, shining. They inhale once more, deeply, then exhale slow. The group follows, breathing together, steady. The smoke clears slightly, shapes fade, shadows return to normal. Yet something lingers, a sense of closeness, of having touched something beyond. You feel both exhausted and calm, your limbs heavy, your chest light. The shaman lowers their hands, leans back, exhales a final sigh. Afterward, the group eats, roots roasted in fire, meat shared in small pieces, drink passed from hand to hand. The taste is grounding, earthy, bitter, sweet. It brings you back, anchors you, yet your mind still drifts, replaying visions. You glance at the shaman, who now sits quietly, chewing slowly, eyes far away. You wonder what they saw, what they carry. Future scholars will call this ritual, spirituality, religion. They will place it at the root of myth and prayer, of gods and temples. They will marvel that even without writing, your kind reached for the unseen. But for you tonight it is simpler. Smoke in lungs, rhythm in chest, visions in mind. Not words, but experience. Not belief, but breath. The fire burns lower. The group lies down, one by one, wrapped in hides. The smoke lingers faint, scent clinging to hair and skin. You close your eyes, body heavy, mind still shimmering. In dreams, birds soar, rivers twist. Ancestors whisper, you sleep within the shaman's breath, carried deeper than silence. 18,000 years ago, the cold still grips the world. Glaciers crawl across the land, winds lash bitter, and snow buries the earth in endless white. To endure, your people shape shelters not from branches alone, but from the bones of giants. Archaeologists of the future will uncover them in Ukraine and Russia. Mammoth bones arranged in circles, tusks arching like ribs of titanic beasts, hides stretched across them, hearths blackened within. Some will call them the first houses, enduring structures raised by hands that sought permanence in a shifting world. Yet debate will remain. Were they homes of families or ceremonial spaces for gatherings, or simply necessity in times of hunger? The evidence whispers but does not shout. The wind cuts sharp across the plain, carrying with it fine crystals of ice that sting your face. You trudge through snow, furs heavy on your shoulders, feet wrapped in hides stiff with frost. Breath bursts white, chest heaving, lungs roar from cold. The sky is pale grey, pressing low. Around you, others move with heads bent, arms clutching bundles of wood, tusks, hides. Each step is labour, but each step matters. At last you reach the circle. Great bones thrust upward from snow, their shapes strange, eerie, beautiful. Mammoth skulls, hollow-eyed, stacked one atop another. Tusks curve skyward, interlocked like fingers framing an entrance. The bones gleam white, half-buried, monumental. Against them, hides are stretched, pegged with stakes, weighed with stones. They flap in the wind, a drumbeat of survival. You enter through the arch of tusks. Inside the air is dim, warmer than outside, though still sharp with cold. Furs line the ground, thick and soft beneath your feet. A hearth smoulders at the centre. its smoke curling through a hole in the roof. The smell is thick, charred wood, singed hide, grease from fat burned for fuel. It clings to your hair, your clothes, your skin, yet it comforts. Smoke means warmth. Smoke means life. Children play near the fire, rolling bones, tapping them like drums. Their laughter rings faintly, echoing within the shelter. Elders sit close to the hearth, bent bodies wrapped in furs, hands outstretched, their faces aligned, eyes deep, voices murmuring softly. Others return from the hunt, dragging meat, skin, sinew. The air fills with noise, with movement, with the rhythm of life pressed into small space. You help stretch another hide across the frame, your hands stiff, fingers numb. The hide is heavy, still smelling of beast, of blood. You pull, tug, tie with sinew. The wind howls outside, but inside the shelter, the flap falls, muting it. Darkness deepens, shadows lengthen. The fire brightens, crackling, snapping, throwing orange glow across bone and hide. For a moment it feels like you sit within the ribcage of some enormous creature, heart beating in the flames. Future scholars will marvel at these shelters, their size, their complexity. Some circles stretch wide, more than 20 feet across, walls layered with bones arranged carefully, not randomly. They will count tusks, jaws, skulls, hundreds used in a single structure. They will wonder how so many were gathered. Did your people kill the beasts in great hunts, or collect bones from deaths already given? The truth is uncertain, but the shelter stands, proof of effort, of vision. At night, the storm rages. Wind screams across the plain, snow whirls high, but inside you are protected. The fire burns steady, fed with fat that hisses, spits, flares. The smoke grows thick, choking at times, making eyes water. But it is better than cold. The air smells of grease, musk, char. You cough, wipe your eyes, breathe shallow, endure. Better smoke than death. The group eats together, meat sizzling on stones, marrow sucked from cracked bones. The taste is rich, heavy, filling. Grease coats lips, drips down chins, hands pass pieces. Children chew greedily, elders gnaw slowly. Hunger fades, warmth spreads. For a time the storm outside is forgotten. Then, as bellies fill, voices rise. A song begins, low at first, then louder, weaving rhythm with the crackle of fire. Hands clap, feet stamp, bones tap against tusks, shadows dance across the walls, flickering like spirits of beasts, ancestors, gods perhaps. The shelter becomes more than bone and hide. It becomes place of memory, of connection, of survival given voice. You lean back against a skull, its surface cold, smooth beneath your hand. You trace the curve of an ancient tusk, marveling at its size. You wonder at the beast it once belonged to, towering, roaring, moving across the plains. Now its bones guard you, its hide warms you, its fat feeds your fire. You feel both gratitude and sorrow, though you have no words for either. Only breath, only thought, only silence. Future archaeologists will ask whether these shelters were permanent homes or only seasonal, built when herds lingered near. They will debate whether they marked beginnings of settlement or only necessity of cold. But for you tonight, none of this matters. What matters is warmth, protection, the circle of kin gathered together within walls of bone. The fire lowers, embers glowing red. Children curl into hides, breath slow, even. Elders nod, eyes closing, murmurs fading. The storm outside howls still, but within the shelter, calm spreads. You lie down, fur heavy across your body, ground soft with layered skins. The air smells of smoke, blood, grease, sweat. It clings to you, thick, unavoidable, yet it is comfort. You close your eyes, listening to the storm batter bone and hide, listening to the fire hum, listening to the slow breaths of those beside you. The world outside is ice, endless and merciless. But here, inside, life persists. A house of bones, a womb of fire, a shelter against eternity. 9,000 years ago, the wandering slows. Fields sprout where forests once stood, herds linger close instead of vanishing over horizons, and shelters are no longer circles of bone but walls of mud, stone and wood. Archaeologists of the future will uncover villages like Çatalhöyük in Anatolia, mud brick houses pressed wall against wall, with no streets, only rooftops serving as pathways. They will marvel at plastered walls painted with animals, at burials beneath floors, at ovens and grinding stones fixed within homes. Some will argue, was this progress or prison? Did settlement free humanity from hunger, or bind it to endless labour? The debate will continue. But for you, here the village is life, noisy, crowded, demanding, alive. The morning sun rises, spilling gold across the rooftops. Smoke already rises from chimneys, thin grey threads curling upward. You wake on a bed of reeds spread over packed clay. The air smells of ash, sweat and bread baking somewhere nearby. Light filters through a small opening in the roof. Chickens cluck outside, goats bleat, a baby wails, voices murmur. The village never truly sleeps. You climb the ladder to the roof, stepping into bright air. Around you, flat rooftops stretch in all directions, a maze of clay and straw. People move across them, carrying baskets of grain, jars of water, bundles of wood. Children chase one another, feet slapping against hard surfaces. Dogs trot, tails wagging, noses twitching. The sound of life rises in layers, chatter, bleating, hammering, laughter, crying. It overwhelms and comforts all at once. You carry a basket of grain to the communal oven. Women kneel there already, grinding wheat between stones. The air rings with the rasp of quern against quern, a slow, steady rhythm. Dust rises, coating their arms, their faces, their hair. It smells earthy, nutty, sharp. They smile as you pass, though their hands never stop. At the oven, fires roar. The heat strikes your face, searing, drying your lips. Flatbreads puff and crackle on hot stone, their smell rich and inviting. You place your own dough near the flames, watching it bubble, harden, darken. When it is ready, you tear a piece. Chew slowly. It is coarse, gritty between teeth. But filling, you eat with gratitude, though never with wonder. Bread has become ordinary now, the taste of every day. Future archaeologists will note this shift. Bread as staple, grain as anchor. They will find grinding stones worn smooth by generations, oven pits reused for centuries. They will call this the dawn of civilization, but also the beginning of toil. Fields must be sown, weeds pulled, grain harvested, threshed, stored. No season passes without labour. The body bends, hands blister, backs ache. Freedom narrows, but stability grows. After eating, you join others in the fields beyond the village wall. Rows of wheat and barley sway in the breeze, golden waves shimmering under sun. The soil smells rich, damp with irrigation channels dug from the river. You bend, pulling weeds, checking stalks, shooing away birds. The rhythm is endless, the work shared. Sweat drips, soaking your tunic. Your muscles ache, but the sight of full fields soothes, enough to feed all if the harvest holds. At midday, you return. The village hums louder. Potters shape clay at wheels, their hands wet, spinning, forming jars, bowls. The clay smells sharp, metallic, raw. Children stomp mud with straw, laughing as it squishes between toes, preparing material for bricks. Builders raise new walls, stacking mud brick, smearing plaster. Dust rises, coating the air. The village grows, spreads, thickens. Yet not all is harmony. At the well, voices rise sharp, an argument over water, over whose turn comes next. At the animal pen, two men shove, fists clenching, anger spilling. The crowd gathers, murmurs. No blades are drawn, but tension lingers. The village holds many bodies, many hungers, many tempers. Walls protect, but they also confine. Future scholars will see signs of conflict, broken bones healed and unhealed, skeletons buried hastily, layers of burnt clay showing fire that destroyed houses. They will ask whether the first villages were peaceful utopias or hotbeds of strife. The truth, as always, lies in between. The village is both safety and struggle. Evening comes, fires flare again, smoke rising. You sit on the rooftop with family, chewing bread, drinking fermented beer brewed from grain. It is sour, thick, bubbling slightly, but it warms the chest, lightens the mind. Laughter grows, songs rise, flutes carved from bone play, drums thump, voices weave, children dance, shadows flickering against clay walls. The village feels alive, vibrant, glowing against the darkening plain. As night deepens, the noise softens. Families retreat into houses, climbing down ladders, sealing roof doors. Inside, lamps burn faint, casting golden pools across plastered walls. You lie on your reed bed, fire smouldering in a small hearth, belly full. The air smells of smoke, of clay, of goats penned nearby. Outside, dogs bark. Guards call softly along the wall. Danger lingers. Raiders, wild beasts. But you feel safer here, within walls, among many. Future voices will call this the first step towards cities. They will see in rooftops and walls the roots of streets, in ovens and fields the birth of economy, in disputes at wells the seeds of politics. But for you tonight, it is simply life, crowded, noisy, tiring, secure. You close your eyes as the hum of voices fades, as the fire lowers, as the clay walls breathe cool against your skin. The village holds you, your shelter, your prison, your promise. And in dreams you walk again across rooftops, past ovens, through fields, never alone, always surrounded, always bound to the rhythm of the first villages. 5,000 years ago, the earth itself begins to yield more than stone. In river valleys and mountain veins, humans discover metals hidden in rock. Archaeologists of the future will find slag heaps where ore was smelted, crucibles blackened with fire, and blades gleaming bronze, copper mixed with tin, a union stronger than either alone. They will trace the rise of villages into towns, towns into cities, marked by the clang of hammer against anvil. Some will call it progress, the birth of civilization. Others will see it as another chain of labor and war. For you in this moment, bronze is not history. It is the first shine of a new dawn. The morning is hot, the air thick with smoke. You stand near a furnace dug into the earth, its walls of clay glowing faint orange. Bellows wheeze as two men press them, forcing air through pipes. Flames roaring higher. The heat is fierce, burning your face, drying your throat. The smell of smoke and molten ore stings your nose, bitter and metallic. Sweat drips down your skin, soaking your tunic. In a clay pot within the fire, copper ore melts, its surface bubbling, glowing like liquid sun. Another pot holds tin, rarer, harder to find, brought by traders from far-off mountains. When the two are mixed, sparks leap, and a new substance forms, stronger, sharper, more enduring. The sight makes your heart pound. A craftsman lifts the crucible with tongs, arms straining. The liquid glows, shimmering. He pours it carefully into a mould of stone carved into shape of blade. Steam hisses, rising thick, sharp against your face. The liquid settles, hardens, gleams as it cools. A new weapon is born. You touch it when it is ready. It feels heavier than stone, colder, smoother. Its edge catches the light, shining with promise. You imagine it biting into wood, into hide, into flesh, stronger than bone, sharper than flint. You know instinctively that the world has shifted. The village hums with change. Farmers still tend fields, bending low in sun, sweat streaking backs. Women still grind grain at querns, flour dusting hair and arms. Children still chase dogs across rooftops, laughter echoing. But the sound of hammer on bronze joins them now, ringing steady, marking time. In the market square, bronze gleams in the hands of traders. An axe with curved edge, polished bright, reflects the firelight. People crowd to see, fingers brushing, eyes wide. Bread and jars of oil are offered in exchange, goats and hides weighed against its worth. The axe passes from hand to hand, admired, coveted. You feel hunger for it too, not of belly, but of power. Not all bronze becomes weapon. You see a woman wearing bangles of it on her arms, rings of metal clinking when she lifts a jar. The shine catches the sun, dazzling unlike any stone bead or shell. Children stare, mesmerized. Ornament has changed. The earth's hidden heart now adorns flesh. Yet, the metal is costly. Ore must be mined, carried, smelted. Bellows burn lungs, furnaces blacken skin, molten sparks scar arms. You watch one man cry out as a drop of metal leaps onto his hand, burning deep, leaving blister. The smell of charred flesh rises, sharp, unforgettable. Progress is pain as well as promise. Future scholars will call this the Bronze Age. They will argue where it began in Mesopotamia's valleys, Anatolia's hills, the Indus's plains, or China's rivers. They will map trade routes carrying tin across mountains, copper across deserts. They will marvel at how quickly the new alloy spread, reshaping weapons, plows, ornaments, lives. But they will also note graves where bronze daggers rest against bones, evidence of battles fought, blood spilled. For every tool of harvest, a blade of war. That night, the village gathers. A bronze knife is passed around the circle. Firelight glows against its edge, red shimmering on polished surface. Each person holds it briefly, weighing its promise. Elders murmur low, remembering hunts where stone shattered, battles where bone broke. Younger ones stare, eyes gleaming. You imagine deer falling faster, fields tilled deeper, trees cleared quicker. You also imagine enemies bleeding easier, walls broken swifter. The knife gleams, promising both. Children reach for it, small fingers stretching. They are pulled back quickly, but curiosity lingers. The knife's gleam lives in their eyes. They will grow with bronze, never knowing a world of only stone. As the fire lowers, the smith sharpens the new blade. Each stroke sings against stone, high and ringing. Sparks leap, small stars falling and fading. The sound echoes across the village, across the night, into your chest. It feels like heartbeat of a new age, steady, unstoppable. Later, when all sleep, you lie awake. The smell of metal still sharp in the air. The stars glitter above, distant, cold. Yet you think of bronze, fire pulled from stone, strength forged by hand, and it feels as though your kind has stolen a fragment of stars themselves, bound it to earth. Future voices will write of kings rising with bronze swords, of cities built with bronze tools, of empires collapsing under their own weight. They will call it the dawn of history. But for you, here tonight, it is simpler. A blade gleaming in firelight, a promise of survival, a warning of blood. You close your eyes, fur warm across your body. Breath slow, steady. The furnace cools, embers glowing faint. Tomorrow, another crucible will bubble, another mould will fill, another blade will shine. Bronze hums in the dark, waiting. The fire burns lower now, a faint glow rather than flame. The long journey through ages has ended. From the first sparks carried from lightning-struck trees, to mammoth bone shelters, to seeds scattered in fields, to bronze shining in the dark. The echoes of hunts, of voices, of songs in caves and whispers at burials, all fade into the distance. They were sharp once, urgent, filled with hunger and fear, but now they dissolve, leaving only calm. You feel your body soften into the present, no longer straining against wind or cold. The air around you is gentle. No predators circle, no storm beats at the shelter. There is only the quiet rhythm of your own breath. Inhale, exhale, slow, steady, unhurried. The faces you've walked beside, mothers tending fires, children laughing at shells, elders humming low songs, drift into memory. Their footsteps fade, their voices blur. They remain with you only as warmth, as safety, as closeness that lingers in the chest. The world outside, ice, forest, river, plain, grows distant. You no longer need to gather seeds. Sharpen stone, watch the fire. You are safe now. Warmth surrounds you like a hide pulled close. Darkness here is not danger, but rest. Let the images dim. The sparks in caves, the shimmer of bronze, the endless fields of grass, they sink beneath you like stones into water, leaving the surface smooth, still. Only silence remains, deep and soft. Breathe once more, slower. Feel your body heavy, safe, at ease. The long ages slip away, leaving only this moment, this calm. You are safe now. That world fades behind you. Only rest remains. Sweet dreams,